Hello and welcome to Council Action. I'm Russell Inman, and joining us tonight is Councilman from Ward 1, Tim Lee.
How are you,
Tim,
Russell?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Pleased to be here.
We had a great meeting, followed by a great, almost said fall festival, but
Valley of the Flowers wrap-up. Yeah.
Man, what an event that was for us this year.
You know, it was a great weekend, and the weather cooperated this year. I mean, I don't remember in all the years, and I've been coming to Valley of Flowers since I was in grade school, so this was a perfect weekend. With the changes that were made this year, it just was so good to see so many people and families out enjoying it, and perfect weather, and I even got a little sun at the parade on Sunday, so it was kind of a good deal.
Well, I think the council decided they wanted to weigh the agenda down after the parade, so we'd come back and we'd have a lot to do.
But you know, I was commenting that it actually went pretty fast.
What always helps. And one way we started the night out with some commendations to police officers. What a great way to start a meeting.
We did. This is actually National Police Week, and the mayor started off with a proclamation declaring, you know, the city declared it National Police Week, and we do this about quarterly. We recognize our officers that have done something exceptional in the past quarter or whatever. And as you saw tonight, there were an awful lot of them that we recognize. There were a lot of good things. We have some real dedicated officers that go take their job very seriously and have done some really good things. So it's kind of good to recognize them. I mean, I don't know how they feel about having to give up a Monday night and come up here to get an award, but it does show that we do appreciate them, and we appreciate the work they do for the city.
And it's a variety of things that the cops are out there doing, searching, protecting, and keeping us safe here.
And the things that hopefully the public knows nothing about it, because everything's just going on, but they are doing things that whether you know it or see it or not, they're out there, they're working every day for us. So,
Tim, I went to hearing from citizens after those commendations, and a few folks came up just to kind of talk a little bit and give their opinions on the city of Florissant. This is a time for anybody that if you're out there watching, come to the next meeting. This is a chance for you to walk up, talk to your city council. Just really about anything, whether it's a street, a subdivision issue, come and voice your opinion.
You know, that's true, Russell, and I tell people a lot. I get emails and phone calls from people, and I will pass them along and talk with my fellow council people. But I encourage people, if you have something you want to say, come on up and talk to the council as a whole, because if all 9 of us and the mayor are hearing it, it carries a lot more weight sometimes as to where just one of us do. So there's been some discussion in the past about it's 3 minutes to hear from residents. It's not a question and answer period, but it's their opportunity to have the floor and let us know what's going on. And if it's something important, the council or the mayor will get back with them and discuss it in more detail. But you know, it's your government. I'm here to represent you, as all of us are, and we need to hear from you, whether it's by email, by phone, by letter, or by just coming up and letting us know.
Well, it's kind of like it's kind of like a vocal, face-to-face.
It is. It is.
Email.
It is.
But much more personal.
And nobody was too upset about anything tonight. So that's sometimes they're upset and those 3 minutes get a little heated. But
that's right.
It was pretty easy tonight. So.
No communications tonight, but several public hearings.
Yeah, we saved all the public hearings for after Valley of the Flowers.
Yes, we did. So. And the first one was a business, car leasing business, and this is just a relocation.
Yeah, Hertz has had a car rental facility up off of Highway 67 and Manresa for some time, and they're just moving into another area, and it's had planning and zoning approval, and it's just something that needs to be done. The council has to approve it in order to let them do it. So.
And that went through tonight. Okay.
Went through. Public hearing was closed tonight. We gave it the first reading, so.
Good. The next one was for a sign shop in a B3 zoning district. This one was postponed, continued?
Well, the
petitioner didn't show up.
Yeah, it's interesting because the signorama has been there and it's been operating for some time. They're a member of the Chamber of Commerce. Okay. And I'm assuming that somebody realized that we needed to approve the transfer and let them do it. So it was scheduled for tonight, but nobody showed up from the Signorama. So we just basically had to postpone it till the next meeting and give them an opportunity to come. And what we always do when we do that is we have to open it up to the public, though, because there may be people here that wanted to talk about it. In this case, there wasn't. But so then we just basically continue it till the next meeting, and hopefully they'll be here. And again, it's kind of one of those no-brainer things, but it requires council approval in order to do it. So.
Well, the next public hearing, this dealt with the technology that keeps growing, the cell phone industry, and there's a request to authorize a special use permit for a 100-foot monopole
cell tower
for
right.
AT&T.
Right. It's as you heard tonight, this is going to be a tower that's going to be on the Elks, excuse me, not the Elks, the Eagles property on New Halls Ferry and Greenway Chase. Where they're putting it is a really good location as far as city council is concerned in the city, because there's really no residential homes close by and there's no problems with it. The one thing that we did discuss tonight is the way the pole is constructed, and Gerard Henke, the new council person, caught this because he said that it could be set where it would have a 50-foot fall zone. So you figure it's a 100-foot tower. If the worst catastrophic thing happened and it fell, it could fall 100 feet in any direction. And Mr. Henke asked that question and said, it could be or it will be? And he said, well, it could be. Their proposal that was actually before us doesn't have that on there. So I later made a motion, and they said they didn't care. Sure. The new technology with these towers is that they're designed now to where if they fall, they kind of collapse upon themselves. They almost like break in half and fall. It's just kind of a safety issue, especially if you have a residential area or anything close. In this case here, you've got floodplain and creeks, and there's no way it would fall and hurt anything anyway. But and as you said, it's interesting. The technology's changed. These cell towers now will co-locate. They can put up to 3 antenna masts on each pole, and because the technology is growing so quickly, there's more and more need for that. And you hear the Verizon guy, can you hear me now?
Right.
They're trying to find all the dead spots in the places where they have problems and get new towers up. And then the ability to expand. They talked a little bit about 4G and LGE and all those initials, and everybody's kind of going to that stuff, and you're going to see more of this technology as it continues to improve. But this was actually a pretty good spot to put one.
Well, to handle sheer capacity, they mentioned with laptops, cell phones,
right?
The different devices that are all kind of connecting in to that cell phone internet stage, right? Being able to handle it all and keep the consumers happy. Because if we all get it and there's not enough towers out there, it's too slow. Right. We're going to be pretty upset.
Correct. I agree.
Well, the last public hearing was a request to establish a B5 planned commercial district for a new retail sales. This was Dollar Tree.
Yeah, Dollar Tree, it's interesting because just a couple meetings ago we changed the parking regulations, and if the people out there know Lowe's under their original permitting, they had to have all these parking spaces, even though they're a warehouse store, and if you ever went up to Lowe's, nobody ever parked in all that area. So this is actually going to be sort of an outlot for Lowe's for a Dollar Tree store. And they went through planning and zoning. Planning and zoning did recommend approval, but they asked that it be built and followed our masonry ordinance. So it is going to be a brick, 100% brick building, and that's what we like to see. So public hearing went pretty smooth, and we're just anxious to get another business here in town. So
it'll be nice to see that development versus this blanket of blacktop that we've got there with Lowe's.
Well, and you saw in the plan tonight we require a lot of landscaping and things just to kind of keep it looking good. So I think it'll fit in well. It'll fit in well in that area. Yeah, it will.
There were no second readings, the light meetings from the past.
Absolutely.
There were a few board requests. The mayor had a couple. Hernandez had one.
Right.
And there were 3 requests tonight.
All right.
The first one was a special use permit for Tom and Mary Manning to Hurlbut Investments?
Say it fast.
This is a service station. They're just changing ownership.
Right, and the Manning family has operated this station since, I think they said 59 or something, and it's just a change in ownership, and and we don't anticipate seeing any other changes with that. It's just a requirement that you come before the council and ask to transfer that special use permit. It's a good thing, because if there's any issues or problems that we saw, we could take that up with the new owners and say, we would like to see you do this, or we've had problems with this, and in this case there wasn't any. And
we've seen the city do that in the past.
we do it. Well, we do when there's a problem. Oh, absolutely, you do. That's a good time to do it too.
Well, this new owner, hopefully there won't be any problems with him either. He owns 6 other stations around the area.
And he's planning on keeping the same employees and everything. I don't think we'll see any real changes.
We had a couple of hens.
4 hens,
So
as a matter of fact.
we know what's warming up.
We did, and I believe this might be
4
the
hens.
first chickens in Ward 1. This is in my ward.
Oh, good.
And I actually spoke with the granddaughter of the lady that's going to get him, and the granddaughter and her husband, they've been over setting, getting the area scoped out and everything, and so they're going to help Grandma with
That's great.
with some hens, and then Grandma's going to have the eggs, and so. We're seeing more and more requests for urban chickens and urban farming, and
They're probably asking all their neighbors to keep the egg
well,
cartons.
they probably do, yeah. One of the interesting things is that we, under that ordinance, so you do have to get signatures from the neighbors, basically giving that they're aware that you're doing it, and they have to give. Majority of people have to approve of allowing them to do that too. So. I don't think we've really had any problems with any of the chickens that we've had so far, I think this is the first one in Ward 1, and there was no problem tonight. So
Great.
good family too. They'll be taking care of their business. So
In first readings, some of these, again, come through from the public hearings and the requests. We had the special use permit for the car leasing business, so that had 1 vote tonight. And we had the ordinance authorizing a special use permit to allow for the sign shop, and that one was postponed.
Right.
The ordinance authorizing a special use permit for that 100-foot monopole sign.
Right, and I requested tonight that we have an amendment ready for the next meeting to create the 50% or the 50-foot fall. So we'll probably either amend it or have a substitute bill before the next meeting.
Perfect. Then there was what started as a request. That was the ordinance authorizing the transfer for the service station, and that actually went through with 3 readings tonight. Just because
we did. It's one of these, we call it the no-brainers. Mm-hmm. Why load up next meeting as long as we're here? We've discussed it, and there was no objection to it, so we went and gave it 3 readings, and they can go through with their transfer.
Tim, then there was an ordinance deleting a section for parking regulations, the off-street loading regulations in their entirety. That just has 1 reading, but what is this one about?
We'll continue to discuss it as a council, but basically it's just changing some of the requirements. When people are businesses and things are unloading things, off-site, we needed to replace that with a new section. So if people want to really read the specifics of it, they can go on the website and read the actual bill. And I don't think there'll be any further discussion. Mr. Schildroth brought it to the council, and there's a staff report basically requesting that we make that change. So shouldn't be a problem at the next meeting.
This next one, it probably has a lot of interest to the residents of Florissant. It's been a hot topic for years, not only in the city of Florissant, but in the other surrounding municipalities, as well as the city of St. Louis. And it's the ordinance that repeals section 315.160, the violation of public safety at intersections and automated enforcement of traffic control signal regulations. This is your red light camera, and it's coming to an end.
Well, it is right now. And just to give you a brief history of, and Mr. Hessel talked about it, in 2005, City and Florissant enacted this ordinance, and we've made a couple modifications since then, but this is a violation that's caught by technology, and went fine for years and years, and we've actually got data to show that it has decreased serious accidents and injuries at the intersections where they're installed. And the other thing that we knew would happen, which did, is that the number of violations just continued to drop, year after year as people became more aware, not just in Florissant, but other communities, and they started stopping, not blowing through the red lights. So that was all a good thing. In 2011, there was some litigation that came up, and there was litigation been going on for a few years, and the court ruled in favor of Florissant and said that our ordinance was constitutional and it was legal. there have been just continuous challenges all over the place. In 2013, there was an appeals Court of Appeals decision that basically, again, upheld this. But then several months later, on the western side of the state, there was another appeals court decision that said, no, it's not legal and you can't do it. So this has been in court for quite a period of time now, and everybody kind of expected that the Supreme Court would take this up, and there's been 2 requests to go to the Supreme Court, and for reasons that I can't explain, the Supreme Court has not agreed to hear those cases. So the city of Florissant is in court later this month, and so Mr. Hessel basically asked that we repeal our ordinance, and it's going to save the taxpayers a considerable amount of money, because we will just ask to dismiss the case against Florissant because we no longer have that ordinance and it's not going to be.
So these judgments have brought a lawsuit then against the municipalities that have held the red light cameras? These
are powers that be of people that most of them have nothing to do with the city of Florissant. It's people that just object to the technology, they object to red light cameras, and these lawsuits have been across the state. Almost, I guess, every municipality that has utilized this has. And like I say, there's been opinions, there's been legal opinions both ways, there's been court cases that have gone both ways. But in light of what's going on now, and the 2 most recent decisions, the Supreme Court not agreeing to take it up, and now that the city of Florissant is being named in suit, you know, we're going to just kind of save some money and sit by. Now, there will be another case coming up later, and if the courts change their mind, or if the Supreme Court agrees to make the changes, we will then reinstitute our, I can't say we will, I would assume we would, and Mr. Hessel thinks we will. The ordinance is set up as public safety. It's one of these things where there's no points on your driver's license if you do it, and if there's changes in the law, or if the legislature acts, which they may, we'll then come back with a new ordinance and reinstitute the program. So cameras are still up. I'm assuming they will stay up until this thing comes to some kind of a decision, but that's what we're going to do right now. And he wanted that done before we go to court.
Well, Mr. Hessel also mentioned if it would become something that was statewide and everybody kind of took on the same rules and regulations for operating it versus the municipalities and their variances.
Correct.
The next piece, there was an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement consenting to the assignment of the exclusive residential solid waste collection services agreement with Meridian Waste Services to Here to Serve Missouri Waste Division LLC. Right. So we've got a company growing.
We actually have a great opportunity here. Chuck Barkham started his business, Meridian Waste, here in the city of Florissant, and he's grown and grown and grown. And he has some partners with him that were just silent partners that kind of helped him get his business and get it to where it is. And Meridian Waste has been approached by an out-of-town holding company, Here to Serve Holding Company LLC, and they're going to be forming a new corporation, Here to Serve LLC, a division. Meridian is going to be their division, their waste management division. And the good thing about this for the city is that we have the right, under our contract that we have with Meridian, we have the right to approve of any changes that might affect our contract and the things that we did. And we met with Mr. Barkham 2 weeks ago, and the city attorney looked over all the paperwork and looked over all the agreements. And basically all this is that Mr. Barkham will stay on. He will still be the president of the company. Nothing's going to change. The name won't change. He's got a 5-year contract to stay on with him. And the holding company will basically own part of it. You heard Mr. Barkham say tonight he still will own a big piece of the company, but his investors are going to be gone. So we see no changes. We don't have any reason that we would want to change the agreement that we have with them. We get a 50% discount for our seniors, which is a great deal, and we get generally really good service. When there is a problem or a complaint, I know in my own experience, Mr. Barkham is accessible. I can pick up the phone or send him an email, and he will get back, and his goal is to serve the people and good customer service. So The other cities that he works with have already approved this. We were the last one, and I knew he was anxious to kind of move forward before the summer. And the new company plans to bring some new money in, and there's going to be some new technology that you're going to see. Most of it should be seamless to the public, but they've already ordered some new equipment. And these trucks are like $250,000 to $300,000 a piece.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So it's they're very, very big investment for them. So we went and gave that 3 readings tonight as well. So
good. I'm sure he appreciated
he did.
that. There's another first reading, ordinance repealing Ordinance 7885, designating CAP 5 Advisors LLC as a preferred developer with the new Halls Ferry Parker Road redevelopment area.
And you'll be hearing more about this.
This is going to be great.
You're going to be hearing more about this in the future. But basically, the city of Florissant was approached 13 or so years ago by the residents in this area wanting to be annexed and wanting to do something about that shopping center down there at Halls Ferry and Parker. We annexed it. We've gone out for proposals several times, and we just have had a real difficult time getting a developer that was willing to come in and do the development. We've named preferred developers in the past, but nothing's ever happened. So we now have what we think to be a really good plan that's going to come forward, a developer that really wants to do something with this property. And we've kept quiet about it pretty much to let everything work themselves out. We didn't want to tell the residents again, hey, it's coming, and then have another one fall through. But you know, we're really excited, and you'll be hearing more about it in the future as we move forward. It's my understanding they're going to be asking for a TIF, tax increment financing, and in my opinion, and I know it's shared by most of the council and the mayor, this is an area that is the proper use of TIF funding, and it doesn't cost anybody any money, but it gives a developer some opportunity to develop. It's a lot cheaper to develop flat land than it is to go into an area and have to redevelop it. And because this area is, by good definition, by practicality, it is a blighted area, and we're looking for good things from this development in the future. So
it's the closest property. You think back to the old Cross Keys.
Closest thing to
a blighted shopping center that had just kind of decayed and eroded over time, and left with no real tenants.
And no possibility of new tenants because it was so run down. I mean, and this is going to be a good. I'm presuming they're going to get a TIF. They're going to request it.
Well, good. We'll look forward to hearing more about this one.
It'll be a good development, I think.
Then there was an ordinance appropriating the sum of $900 from the General Revenue Fund for office supplies.
Yeah, the golf course had, as you know, we've taken over management again, resumed management. We've done everything to do to make them, give them the opportunity to be successful. Well, they had a couple of printers that went out and a couple of other major things that have happened. So their budget for office supplies and equipment is I think it was down to 5%, and it's only May. So the city's going to give them the additional funding they need to be able to. Basically, they've already replaced the printers because they can't operate without the printers, but it'll give them the money now they need to remain.
Cleans up some bookkeeping.
It gives them what they need. We want to give them every opportunity to be successful. And for those golfers out there, last Wednesday, our brand new golf carts were delivered to the Golf Club of Florissant. So you're going to see a whole new fleet of golf cars, whole new fleet of beverage cars, utility carts up there. So we're really excited about getting the season going. So.
Well, Tim, we've got about 5 minutes left. Tell me a little bit about what's going on in your ward.
Well, a couple things I want to touch on tonight. This is spring and summer, and you're going to see weeds and grass. Grass particularly are going to start to grow. And what I want to encourage people to do is if you have an area close to you that they're not cutting their grass, please let somebody know. Let your council person know. Or better yet, there's a new feature on our website. If you go to www.florissantmo.com, on the right-hand side, you're going to see a link to the Action Center. From there, you'll be able to report the problem that you've got, any kind of problem. It's not just weed and grass, but you know, we want to keep property values up, and as proactive as we are, we don't always know and see all those problems. So let us know if it's a problem. And ordinances are set up on this particular problem that once we get the report and we notify the owner of the property that they're in violation, they have so many days to take care of the violation. Once we've notified them one time during the growing season, if their grass gets too high again, we'll just go in and abate it and cut the grass ourselves. We don't have that 10-day waiting period. And then we turn around and bill that right back to the homeowner, and if they don't pay it, it goes on their real estate property tax bill. And I tell people, it's a heck of a lot cheaper to hire a lawn service or to do it yourself than to pay the city of Florissant to cut your grass. So if you're having problems with that or any property maintenance issues, it's springtime now. There's no more excuse that I can't get my paint or my gutters falling down because it's bad weather. Use the Action Center or call your council person, let them know that there's problems in the neighborhood. And this Action Center works really good. They'll respond back to you, let you know what's going on. And the last thing I want to touch on is basically, I call it neighbors watching out for neighbors. It's neighborhood watch type stuff again. We've had a couple of instances again of vacant homes with copper theft. People are breaking into homes and stealing copper. And we've also luckily had some prevented issues where neighbors are noticing something that looks suspicious and they pick up the phone and they call 831-7000, call the police department and say, I see something that looks unusual or out of the ordinary or doesn't look right to me. I know the Smiths are out of town and there shouldn't be somebody there, or I know the house is vacant, or whatever the case may be. And the police will respond. And you know, that's what I talk about, neighbors watching neighbors. Who knows best what's normal for your neighborhood than you and your neighbors? So please, if you have anything that looks out of the ordinary or suspicious, pick up the phone, 831-7000. If it's a true emergency, call 911. And our great Florissant Police Department will be there to take care of those problems. So that's about it. All's quiet in Ward 1. We're looking forward for the summer. So
good. Yeah, you know, the Neighborhood Watch program, what a great program. And it's so easy to get to know the neighbors on each side of you. And if everybody does that, it's so much simpler to take care of your neighborhood and make sure that everything's safe.
It is.
Tim, thanks for your time tonight. Thanks for going through the meeting in good detail, helping the viewers understand what happens here in the city of Florissant. We appreciate that, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. I'm Russell Inman. We'll see you next time.